everybody, and welcome to the Your Natural Healer channel. And my name is Tammy, and this is the Crystal Educational Series where you are going to learn about a specific crystal, its history, all the benefits, the physical healing, the emotional healing, the metaphysical, spiritual healing. Before we even begin, I ask that if you're not subscribed to the channel, if you would consider doing so. You can turn off that notification. That is not going to offend me whatsoever. I get it. I don't want my cell phone blowing up either. Give the video a thumbs up, leave a positive comment, even if it's just an emoji, and share the video. All those things really do truly help the channel. So in advance, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so are we ready to learn about this episode's crystal? All right, I know I am, so let's get this party started. Let's deep dive citrine. Citrine is the name given to a yellowish orange variety of quartz that has inclusions of iron. It can be found in crystallized, in any form of quartz that it's found in. And its name is actually derived from a Greek word that translates to citrion. Citrine is a relatively rare variety that is usually mined in tandem with amethyst and smoky quartz. Um, it's mined in its primary location, but it's still associated with the igneous rock matrix. But in terms of actual commercially viable deposits, there's really only a few locations that have significant amounts of citrine. And these include Brazil, Russia, and Zambia. Now, there's a lot of debate about the true history and the correct identification of citrine. Multiple civilizations have used the word citrion, Citrion, to describe any yellow gemstone in color. And oftentimes, these gemstones weren't citrine, they were quartz, topaz, jade, yellow aventurine, and beryls. So to this date, we cannot find a defining period when the naming of citrine actually occurred. And we firmly believe that in many old texts, citrine was commonly referenced due to its extremely high vibration. So even though, there's not a lot of historical record, I mean, I think of the Egyptians and everything that I've learned, and I am still learning about the pyramids and the emerald tablets and all of that, is that our ancient ancestors were highly intuitive. And there is no way with how they, um, I don't want to use the word worshipped, but how they felt about stones like onyx and um, Cleopatra. I'm having a blank mind right here. Lapis lazuli, thank you, whoever just thought that. Um, but they really held these stones as sacred. So with, like I said, their highly intuitive nature, there's no way that they would have let this magical stone slip past them. And authentic citrine is truly magical. So natural citrine, as I said, it is considered rare, and it can be quite expensive, with some specimens actually selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So due to the fact that, supply and demand, low demand equals high price, there's a large counterfeit market. And therefore, the market's been really flooded with fake versions, which is simply nothing more than heat-treated amethyst or heat-treated smoky quartz. And there's Parker. Hello, honey. So when you're looking to purchase a piece of natural citrine, be really careful who you buy from as far as your seller, and also be aware of the size. If you're buying I don't know, I have a little sphere, and it's probably the size, if you've ever played marbles, it's maybe just a little bigger than a shooter marble. And granted, spheres are going to be more expensive anyway. was like $200 for that sphere. So again, it is going to depend on quality, um, but size and shape as well take factor. So be really, 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 really diligent about who you buy from. Any bold or vibrant color should really raise questions. If it is super bright yellow, where it almost looks like if you've ever seen brucite, or if it's super orange where it's almost like orange calcite, then that really should raise some questions. Also be very wary, as I said, of the size. Anything over, like 2 inches is going to start to get expensive. All right. And I'm talking expensive. Now, for anyone who's taken my Crystals 101 course, you'll know how I feel about um, what I call fake or man made crystals. They're heat treated, lab grown, enhanced, whatever you want to call it. So, a lot of people do use heat treated citrine. So, the question really is, well, what's the difference then? Because you might say, well, Tammy, I thought it's all about color and color is vibration. So, if the heat treated amethyst is yellow in color, wouldn't it be similar? Yes and no. The way that I like to explain citrine is like lemonade. Okay. We've all drank um fake lemonade, the powdered stuff that you pour water. You may sometimes have to add sugar, maybe not. You mix it up, the Crystal Light or Kool-Aid or whatever it is. Yeah, it tastes like lemons. It's refreshing and it quenches your thirst, and it gets rid of that, craving for lemonade and works. That is heat treated amethyst and smoky quartz. Now, if you've ever had fresh squeezed lemonade, where you take the lemons and you actually squeeze the juice right then and there and you get the pulp in it. And you use the ice cold fresh water, ice cubes, fresh sugar, mix it all together. It is 1,000 times different than the fake lemonade. And that is real citrine. So, yes, they're similar, but man, there's a difference. And if you use natural citrine, my friends, you will know the difference. And me, because I am so, oh, God bless you, Parker, because I am so serious about crystals and I believe in them and I believe in their power and I am a serious collector. I don't want fake crystals in my collection. So if I want to use citrine, I want to get my hands on the real thing because of the fact it is such an incredible stone. And, if I'm looking for it to work for whatever physical, emotional, mental, spiritual healing on a scale of 1 to 10, I want the 10. I don't want a 4.5. So that's my feeling on it. So that's how you can kind of remember how the energies work. And I know a lot of people out there use the heat treated citrine and they're okay with it, but guarantee you they've never utilized true natural citrine. And let me tell you, guys, I'll say it again, you will notice the difference. So let's talk about the chakras that are associated with this wonderful crystal. And it's all your lower chakras. So your root chakra, it is your sacral chakra, it is your solar plexus. However, my personal opinion, I feel that the solar plexus kind of dominates the other two. I mean, and as we talk, you'll see where the other two do play into citrine, but I really feel that the solar plexus is where you're going to get the most benefit out of citrine. And again, really quickly, our root chakra, our sense of security, basic needs, sacral chakra, sexuality, creativity, raw emotions, solar plexus, personal will, confidence, willpower. All right. So the planetary association is the sun. I mean, that's kind of a no brainer because it is such a beautiful crystal. And the sun energy, it's all about life force energy. And excuse me for just 1 second. I need to give Parker one of her treats here, or else she's going to keep carrying on. And uh, you're going to get upset with me. But like I said, this is life, and I'm not recording on a movie set, and so therefore you're gonna have to deal with Parker. And plus, she likes to say hi. There she goes. Hold on, Parker. All righty. I'm sorry about that, guys. All right, so we were talking about the Planetary Association and the Sun, which is about life force, and it's also about personality. The zodiac associations, there's four, and that's Aries, Gemini, Leo, and Libra. Now, I always have to say this because, I get so many clients that, purchase crystals from me and go, oh, I'm a Gemini, this crystal's for me. That's not necessarily what it means. It's all about association and energy. So, this crystal, for example, a Leo, it draws on Leo energy. Leo people, or Leo energy, they're very happy, but yet they're dramatic and they like to be the center of attention. So it draws on that energy. Aries energy, warrior, initiators. They like to confront people and confront things. Gemini energy is about curiosity. They're a bit intellectuals. They can be a little bit flirty, and communication. And then Libra. I always think of the scales and balance. Libra, artistic. They're peacemakers, and they're all about relationships. So it draws on all of those zodiac energies. And anybody can utilize those energies at any time. The elemental association is fire. Again, kind of makes sense. And fire, the element of fire, it's a symbol of creation, energy, and passion. And that is all sacral chakra. So as you can see, when I said it was all the lower chakras as well. If you're into vibration numbers, it is the number 6 that is associated with this beautiful crystal. So next, we're going to talk about all the awesome, awesome properties of citrine, the spiritual properties, the emotional / mental, and then the physical properties. So citrine, it is so powerful, so, so powerful. And it's really a great energy because it purifies the energy of everything around it. And it's also a self-cleansing crystal. So it's not one that you have to put on selenite. It will cleanse itself. Um, but I still like to put mine on selenite. But like I said, it purifies everything around it. So not just necessarily your aura, not just necessarily your chakra, anything. Now, it's not transmutive, it's not transmuting it into positive, it's just purifying. So negative stuff can still come in, it just purifies. All right. So, oh, I am not gonna pause this, so I am going to make you guys hold on a second. And this always happens to me. My battery is about to die on the laptop, so I don't want to pause this. So you're just gonna have to wait 1 second, please. I'm sure I'm gonna get a critic. Well, that's so unprofessional. Like I said, I keep it real, and this isn't about being perfect. All right. So citrine is also really, 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 really good. I'm just getting excited. It's really good for manifestation. It can help us grow our desires, but it really helps us understand our desires and to ask the universe to guide our actions, to be able to lead us to success. When the road is difficult on our path, citrine can lend us the strength. So again, that's using that solar plexus, and it can help banish feelings of heaviness and darkness from our spirit and replace it with beautiful, bright, golden light. So anytime you need just a quick pick me up of if you're feeling like, a little bit of negativity, and while my favorite crystal for negativity is black tourmaline, if you don't have that available or it's absorbed a lot of energy and it needs a good cleansing, grab your citrine and just, feel the golden light just cleansing everything around you. Citrine is an excellent stone for promoting joy and happiness. Again, that's at solar plexus, and it helps us set emotional boundaries. And what I really like about it is that it has us focus on our wants versus our needs, our personal will, our strength, and our creativity. So that's hitting all the lower chakras. Wants versus needs, there's that root chakra, our personal will and our strength. There's that third chakra, the solar plexus, and our creativity, which is housed in the sacral chakra. Citrine, it's a master of our creativity center, which houses some of the strongest manifestative energies. That's hard to say. Sorry about that. Um, and this has been known to be the key to not only unlocking our personal will, but to unlock our truest desires. I mean, how many times do you settle? You might say, "Oh, and this is kind of a poor example. I want chocolate ice cream, and then you just go settle for vanilla. No, it's okay to want chocolate ice cream. It's okay to want things. It is okay as long as it's coming from a place of not of ego, so of the heart. Okay. So when you're really truly looking for a change or a spark of imagination, the energy that citrine holds, it has no bounds. And as I said, grasping this stone each day and letting the universe hear your goals will amplify its energies tenfold. It's not, manifestation, I could do a whole lecture on this, and I am thinking about doing a workshop on manifestation at the time of recording this anyway. Um, But it's not just about thinking or wanting what you want. It's manifestation is about focusing and doing. And once you start doing and taking the steps that you need to take, the universe will bless you. When it's like, okay, I'm impressed. All right, you don't have to go all, step Z. The universe blesses you at step uh, Q. All right. It depends. But when citrine brings our root chakra into play, it allows us to bring our truest desires to life. Change is something that we all seek, but none of us are truly ready to work towards it. And citrine, if you are ready to work towards manifesting your dreams, citrine, as I said, knows no bounds. Citrine's energy is exceptionally joyful and happy, and it's one of the most useful stones to treat depression and anxiety. It's very purifying, and it can help protect us from being drained by difficult situations, as well as difficult people. It can help us set and maintain those clear emotional boundaries so that we don't need to rely on its protection. So at first, we might be utilizing it to protect us from these things. But once we are able to acknowledge these things, we can clear these emotional boundaries. We can create emotional boundaries. For sometimes we do need emotional boundaries and sometimes we don't. So it will help you with that to where it'll be where you won't even need the power of citrine to help you with that, which is fantastic. Citrine will help you see that it's okay to say no. So many of us, we're yes men. Yes, 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 yes. We don't want to say no because we feel bad. But you know what? Sometimes you have to say no, and it's okay to say no. And citrine, if you have that problem, if you're one of the yes men, then citrine can help you work through that. And as I said, it's an excellent crystal for us to be able to be clear about what we want rather than just focusing on the minimum we need to survive. Because all of us, there's minimum things we need. We need a minimum amount of money, food, shelter, relationships. But there's nothing wrong if, say, you're living in a small apartment and you can afford to go buy a big house. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, as long as you're not buying it to shove it in the face of like your friends and your family to go, look at me, I live in this big house. As long as it's coming from the heart space and for your highest good, it's okay to want things in life. And so many times we're indoctrinated to feel bad about wanting things, and we shouldn't be. If you work for it, then you know what? You deserve it. So it really does encourage us to think and feel clearly about what is necessary for our happiness and to confidently do the work we need to bring all of that about. Citrine teaches us that when we do the work, we are properly entitled to enjoy the result. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. Now, as we said, citrine it's a purifying energy. So it does help us keep our thoughts clear and clean so that we can make really good decisions and put them into action immediately. It helps us to rapidly digest complex information, particularly if it's related to power or boundaries, as well as manifestation. Citrine can help us organize our thoughts into those which serve our highest good as well as those do not, and then to discard those thoughts that are not serving our highest good. Citrine will help us understand and move past any mental block dealing with money. And there are people, I can remember my mom saying, people would say, oh, money is the root of all evil. And my mom would be like, no, it's the love of money is the root of all evil. And yeah, that's greed. So, a lot of times we're taught to believe that money is evil, and it's not. Money is an exchange of energy, it's an energy exchange. So citrine will show us that, money buys marshmallows and it can build hospitals. And therefore it can be a good thing worthy of being gathered, saved, spent, and enjoyed. But if you go buy all the marshmallows in the world and you don't share them, then you know what? That's not coming from a good place. So, but I don't know what made me think of marshmallows because I'm not a marshmallow person. All right, sorry about that. I got way off topic there. All right, so one of my favorite qualities about citrine that many users and even many practitioners aren't aware of is its deep, deep connection to Mother Earth. When you work with citrine, your lower chakras, they become so actively engaged and rooted in Gaia. During this experience, you will be able to fully absorb the nurturing and rejuvenating energies of our planet. So, one of the things that I like to do is meditate with citrine outside, either at dawn or dusk, because both of those times of the day are when the Earth's energy is most potent. Um, so, Gaia's energies are most open and more easily accessible at dawn and dusk. Um, so try that. It is really super awesome. Now, if you're not someone who's ever experienced, excuse me, intense things during a meditation session, um, you might find with citrine that changes when working with it outside because it can be an intense experience. So, if you can do it, really, really do try it. But my point is that citrine combined with the power of Mother Earth and all of her beauty, it will have such a positive effect in steering you on your life path. As far as physical healing, citrine is recommended for anybody who feels sluggish and wants the like crystal equivalent of a shot of espresso. So I like to say that that's how I explain carnelian is that carnelian is like coffee in a cup or an espresso in a cup. Citrine is kind of the same way, but differently. Now, between the two, I'm going to pick citrine, or excuse me, I'm going to pick carnelian every time for that energy boost. And it's just because me personally, I've had bigger energy boost with carnelian than citrine. But citrine, if you're in a jam, it can do that for you. Um, Citrine, it's such a happy and bouncy energy, and it can help you smile, which we need to do more of. And it's going to help you to do what needs to be done in your life, both in the short term and the long term. It's a very comforting stone when you're dealing with problems, especially affected the digestive and elimination systems, particularly like bladder infections or if you're constipated. Citrine can be really gentle but beneficial. It's also a great talisman for anyone who needs to take care of their endocrine system, especially the thyroid. Now, again, this is not my number one stone for the thyroid, but you can utilize it for thyroid issues. Citrine can help you stay hopeful and act sensible, when you are dealing with these medical issues. It's also really, really good for anybody who is suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome. Um, as long as you realize that the chronic fatigue syndrome is not going to go away overnight, you have to utilize the citrine on a daily basis and just, don't have crazy expectations. When used pragmatically, citrine can really help us celebrate every milestone we reach and to have endurance for a long healing journey. So even if you're dealing with something that's, long term, maybe illness or sickness, like chronic fatigue syndrome, um, celebrate the little things and then watch those little things manifest into bigger healing, thus bigger celebrations. So citrine, as I said, it's just a powerful, powerful crystal. Um, and it's one that you should have in your crystal arsenal. And then again, like I said, it is up to you whether you use natural or heat treated citrine. If you do choose natural, make sure you buy it from a reputable dealer. Um, for example, the person that I buy from for my crystal shop, him and his wife actually goes to that mine every year, um, and checking things out and making sure that they're not being duped and all that. But you have to you just got to do your work, do your due diligence, and you know um, like I said, I want the real thing, and because I'm an avid collector, I would rather pay a little, I'd rather pay a little more money for real citrine than not. Again, so I hope that you utilize citrine, whether it's in a professional or a personal manner. And that's all I have to say about this crystal. So thank you very much for your time. Namaste.